The Kirkpatrick Training Evaluation Framework is the undisputed standard in the learning and development industry. Across corporate training and government agencies, it measures success. This diagram shows evaluation data retention. At the top, adoption is universal. If learning and development professionals universally understand the 4 levels, why is measuring actual behavior change rare? The failure to reach level 4 is rarely a lack of ambition. It is a flaw in how learning data is physically housed and transmitted within an organization. It is commonly assumed that many training programs fail to produce level 3 evidence because instructional designers do not know how to track behavior. This leads to the satisfaction trap. When an organization's software can only process level 1 reaction data, the entire system optimizes for that single metric. Designers are forced to build highly engaging, enjoyable content to secure high satisfaction scores. But high satisfaction simply does not correlate with actual behavioral change. A learner can love a course and apply none of it. The barrier preventing these programs from connecting instruction to business outcomes is entirely invisible to the person designing the curriculum. Direct and precise. The bottleneck is a hard architectural boundary within the organization's software stack. As a learner moves from training to the workplace, the system severs their digital identity. You cannot solve a data infrastructure problem by applying better pedagogical theories. This boundary is called the ID horizon. It is the exact structural point in a tech stack where a participant's persistent digital identity terminates. Here is how the stack fails. First, a learning management system, or LMS, enrolls a participant. The LMS generates a discrete internal ID used exclusively to track their course completions and quiz scores. Months later, when the organization sends a post-training survey to measure behavior application, they use a separate survey tool. That tool tracks the user only by an email address. The ID horizon cuts the connection. Finally, the organization's Human Resources Information System, the HRIS, tracks actual job performance. This system uses a completely different set of employee identification numbers. To prove level 3 behavior change, analysts have to manually stitch these 3 distinct, isolated identities together long after the training is over. By the time this manual reconciliation is finished, weeks or months have passed. The optimal window to provide coaching to a struggling employee has closed. Achieving level 4 evaluation at scale is computationally impossible if your architecture relies on humans to manually connect identities after the fact. The engineering solution to bypass the ID horizon requires generating a single persistent ID at the initial point of enrollment. This persistent ID structure alters how data flows across the organization's tech stack. A baseline assessment taken in the LMS automatically links to a manager's 90-day behavioral observation rubric because both systems are referencing the exact same identifier. The system can cross-reference those early training records with long-term HR performance metrics without requiring a human to match a single spreadsheet row. Repairing the ID horizon transforms level 3 and 4 evidence from a manual, retrospective research project into a standard, real-time automated output. However, even a flawless data architecture cannot measure organizational impact if the program was not intentionally designed to produce it. Traditional forward design builds the level 1 learner experience chronologically, treating level 4 results as a hopeful byproduct at the end of the line. The New World Kirkpatrick model corrects this with a core mandate: reverse design. You start at the end. The very first programmatic step is defining specific level 4 lagging indicators, metrics like job placement rates, incident reduction, or sales volume, before designing a single piece of curriculum. That organizational result dictates the exact observable behaviors employees must perform. Managers track these critical actions at level 3. Those required behaviors dictate the precise knowledge and skills taught at level 2, which finally shape the actual learner experience at level 1. By starting at the end, reverse design ensures every single learning activity is inextricably anchored to a specific, measurable business outcome. The final point of industry confusion lies in exactly what type of metric qualifies as a result at level 4. According to the New World model, the target of level 4 is return on expectations, or ROE. ROE is a holistic measurement. It proves that the training initiative successfully met both the qualitative and quantitative expectations set by the organization's stakeholders. Consider the Emirates Airlines Service Over and Above the Rest program. With a scale of 50,000 employees, their goal was to enhance customer service across 4 specific dimensions of traveler interaction. This chart shows their Level 4 return on expectations. By mapping those service behaviors to organizational goals, they verified a double-digit decrease in customer complaints directly tied to the training initiative. Return on expectations proves the impact of human capital investments without requiring a strict dollar-for-dollar financial return calculation. For programs that do require strict financial justification, researcher Jack Phillips expanded the framework by adding Level 5, Return on Investment. Return on investment is distinct from return on expectations. Level 5 is a strict cost-benefit analysis, comparing financial yield directly against program expense. Calculating Level 5 carries an immense analytical burden. It requires isolating the specific effects of training from external market factors, utilizing control groups, and conducting trendline forecasting. To determine when an organization should take on this analytical burden, Patty Phillips developed the chain of impact. This diagram illustrates evaluation distribution. While nearly all programs receive Level 1 evaluation, volume shrinks drastically, moving toward organizational measurement. The rule is constraint. Level 5 analysis is reserved exclusively for the top 5 to 10% of high-cost initiatives. Standardize your data architecture to capture Level 4 return on expectations seamlessly across all programs, but you must reserve the friction of Level 5 return on investment strictly for when financial justification is absolute.